be safe. You gotta be safe.
Calling all radio enthusiasts with storm claims and legal questions. Join us every Saturday at 2 p.m. on WTA FM 106.1 and AM 1340 for Legal Candy with attorney Candace Colucci. She's your guide to hurricane-related issues, property insurance law, and more sizzling legal topics. Get ready for a lively legal experience. Make your Saturday sweet with Legal Candy on WTAN FM 106.1 and AM 1340.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
The caregivers around the world today. It's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. On the show where you can find help and hope. Because I know your caregiving experience is not always easy. But if you get education, resources, and find out that you're just not alone, it's definitely better. So how you doing, Mr. Ed, today?
Wow, trying to keep warm.
Oh, my God. I'm telling you, my best friend is my rice pad that you put in the microwave that my sister in Maine introduced me to. So I put it in there. It's like a heating pad. Oh, it's just lovely. Because years ago, I got frostbite in my fingers. So even if I just hold a cold glass of water, my fingertips go numb. Oh, that rice bag has been my friend.
And then do you have a bowl of rice when you're done with it or what?
No, but if you put it on for like more than 2 minutes, it kind of smells like Chinese. Only kidding. So I have my friend, Dr. David Schumann, with me today. We're going to talk to him on the second half of the show. Unfortunately, Lynn can't be with us today. She just got some stuff going on, and that's the way life goes. But I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Jen in Clearwater, we have Debbie in Tampa, and we have Jillian in Sarasota. And like I always say, there's plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more listeners, whether you listen when we're live on the radio or on YouTube or Facebook or my website or YouTube or whatever. It's all good. It's really interesting that I did an analytics recently on my YouTube channel. And my newest subscribers, many of them are men from the age of 40 to 60. And I thought, well, we know caregiving is hitting everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought that's where men get their information from.
Maybe.
YouTube, right? I know, to me, I always tell, if somebody says to me, how do I do this? I go to YouTube University. Because YouTube will tell you.
There's a video for everything.
Yeah, well, how fabulous is that?
Yeah, it helps.
You know, my stepmother used to have this bed for my dad, and it was one of them big electric. This was years ago. Like, they were heavy and bulky, you know, and it went up. Well, after my dad passed away, she paid a lot of money for that bed. Nobody wanted it. She finally found somebody like in another country that was going to take it, but she couldn't get it to go. It was like stuck up a little bit. Well, one of the guys in the building in Manhattan where she lives came up and he looked on YouTube University and figured out how to put it down and take it apart.
Wow.
It was fabulous. So do we have Lori on the line? Hi, Lori.
Hello, I'm here.
I'm glad you're here. So Lori, LaBey, and I met, well, I don't know how many years ago it is now because we're both in the caregiving industry. And I just always have so respected Lori and everything she's done. And you know, she had a radio show way before I did. And I was like, oh, she's like the queen. I have to pay attention to what she's doing. It's true. You know how it goes. So, Lori started Alzheimer Speak in 2009 and co-founded Dementia Map, a global resource directory during COVID, because there were gifts of COVID, in honor of her mother who lived with dementia for 30 years. On top of hosting the Alzheimer Speak podcast, which was the first of its kind in the world focusing on dementia and caregiving, she joined forces to co-host and co-produce a podcast called Conscious Caregiving with L&L, which tackles tough conversations about seniors on a monthly basis. So welcome, my friend.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me on, Linda.
I'm so glad that you're here today. So I love everything that you do, and I love all the attention you have brought to dementia way back when no one else was even talking about it. You know, I remember when I first started in this caregiving arena, I would find out that I had to educate caregivers that they were caregivers before I could help them. Because
so true.
yeah, because it's, you know, I'm the faithful spouse, I'm the good daughter, I'm the favorite niece, you know. No, you're a caregiver. So give me a little background on how you got into this world of dementia.
Well, I went in kicking and screaming like most family members. This is not something invited into our life. My mom lived with dementia for 30 years. Of that 30 years, she was misdiagnosed 10. Back in the day, she was told it was menopause, which she knew it was. And then the last 20, she was formally diagnosed. But, you know, upon autopsy, you know, my mom died in 2014. She had, it said Alzheimer's, Lewy body, and Parkinson's. And so, and we never heard anything about Parkinson's or Lewy body,
right? You
know, during our journey. But we just, you know, we did the best we could. And I got in here because it's like, well, where's everybody else? We can't be alone here. And why aren't we connected to services, products, and tools and other families who are dealing with this? And I wouldn't have gotten into this or even thought about doing this, but I was selling real estate for about 25 years. And I worked in the senior market. And I did a lot of education for families on transitioning and things like that. And it was just, it was actually the senior market that told me to get into this field.
Well, and, you know, everyone I know, whether they have a product, a service, a radio show, whatever, it all stems from, I took care of somebody.
Yep.
I took care of somebody and I wanted to find a better way.
Well, and you want to help those that come after you to not go through what you went through.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, there's so many resources out there, but people still don't know about them because there's not a good connected way. And, you know, our medical professionals don't know about them. And that's where you'd think it would all start. And so it's still very frustrating after all these years. I've been doing this since 2009. And we've come a long ways, but we have such a long ways to go.
But we continue to progress. So, you know, the other day, one of my caregivers, her mom was in the hospital and now she had to go to rehab. And then she knows after rehab, she's going to come home and she wants to get some home health in. So they give her a list at the hospital of home health and she shows it to me. And out of the first 10, 3 of them aren't even in business anymore.
Yep. Well, COVID wiped so many out.
And the people in the hospital and the doctor's office don't have the time to keep up with that.
No. And, you know, you go to, I mean, I just have a loved one in the hospital and, you know, they don't know how to care for them either.
No.
And in the clinics, a lot of them don't recognize it. You know, there's not enough geriatricians and in my opinion, there's not enough education for the doctors on this and what to look for and how to support families in terms of caring, you know, for a loved one. I have a loved one now that I'm caring for. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've been back and forth to the clinics to get more forms to. It's like, can't you just make one form?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
All of these things, it is exhausting.
It's exhausting for you, and then you have like a 86-year-old woman taking care of her 90-year-old husband, and so then it just doesn't happen. Because it's like too overwhelming, it's too much, the forms are too much, this is too much, and then they get no help.
Yep. Well, and our phone systems are all automated. And I mean, I'm screaming at it half the time.
Yeah.
Get me through. And this woman I'm caring for, she's like, we couldn't do this without you. You know, you have no idea how much we appreciate this because our system is not user-friendly at all in healthcare, in my opinion.
Well, I'm sorry to say the whole healthcare industry is a mess. Unfortunately.
Yep.
But that's why you have your show and that's why I have my show. To let people know that there is a better way
and there's more people stepping in, and I think one of the things that I like too is that people are understanding there. First of all, there is no cure, so there is no magic bullet, and two, that just because you went to one conference, seminar, or certification, that's not all there is to help you out there. And their minds are opening up that they really have to have a toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
So, they can listen to your radio show or my radio show or many others that are out there, and they're going to hear different things. Or they might hear the same thing, but in a different way.
Exactly. Or they just may hear it the day that they're ready to hear it.
Exactly. Oh, that's a huge piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I find many times, people will tell me, okay, Linda, the conference was great, but I didn't really listen to any of it. And then a month later, they're like, oh my God, now my husband got a diagnosis of Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. So I need to hear that, or they're listening to the radio show or during the conference or whatever it is. And they say, oh, everything was really cool, Linda, until Mom had to go to the bathroom. So now you can hear it later or after.
Exactly. And on their own time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said they were gifts of COVID.
Yep. Well, and they're shareable now too. Where so much stuff wasn't shareable, you either had to make the date and the time that the event was going to be, and now there's recordings of things. There's more printed materials. There's way more books.
And as a caregiver, I don't have to leave the house. I don't have to find someone to take care of my loved one. I don't have to get all dolled up and go look for a parking spot.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
Yep. Well, it's a huge deal. For some people, it's the mental stress of leaving their loved one and not being confident with who they're leaving them with, and so they're not really where they went to be 100% because they're so worried about how are things going on at home.
Exactly, but I was just saying that, Laura. I have to say to the caregivers out there, you're not the only one that can take care of your loved one. If you need to go out for a little bit, just chill and go out and do what you want to do. And I think many times we as caregivers think, oh, I'm the bomb caregiver. Only I can do it. What I think sometimes your loved one is saying, give me a break.
Oh, yeah, they want a break just as much as you want a break. But I think there's so much stress from society because, first of all, we've been taught for years and years and years that a person with dementia can't do anything, and we have to be there for them 24/7. And if you're the caregiver, you should be able to handle that job by yourself.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so people want to step up and step in. They don't want to look like they can't handle it. And so even when they're struggling, they still have a smile. And someone asks, how's it going? Oh, just fine.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, because of those society standards and stuff. So, I went through that. And I didn't even know I was doing that until one day you kind of have a breaking point. And I don't know if you've heard this story from me or not, but I had some girlfriends that were wonderful, and they kept, bugging me every week. Come have coffee with us. Come have coffee. And I'm like, I can't. I don't have time, And one day I left my parents' place, and things were just really overwhelmed. And I was in a bad mood, and they called, and I said, I'll give them 10 minutes, roll out the red carpet. Here I come. And my intent was to go to get them off my back so they'd leave me alone.
One less thing you got to think about.
They were one more thing that I had to do or had to respond to, and I just didn't have the bandwidth.
Right.
And what I realized when I went, I ended up staying 2 hours.
Oh.
And we laughed and we cried together. And I shared what was really going on because I hadn't really done that.
Yeah.
Not even with my family members. And I did not know how empty I was until they filled me up.
Yeah.
And I felt like a whole person again. And I did not miss coffee after that.
We need a posse.
What was that?
We need a posse.
Yeah. But that was a beautiful thing. But again, I did not even know that my soul was so deleted, that my energy was so low because you're so entrenched in getting everything done. You're like the little train going down the track. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
And I can do it tomorrow. I can do the next thing comes up. And then you're at night like, I'm so exhausted. And nobody gets what I'm doing because you haven't shared it with anybody.
Yep.
Because you
And
haven't
you're so
shared
tired
it.
you can't sleep.
Yeah. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm 71. As we get older, a lot of us can't sleep. But
yeah, I'm 65, so I'm feeling that too. So.
But we all need our posse, and we all need people that we need to talk to. I've told this story before, and it's just a brief thing. But I was in my mailroom one day, and 2 women were in there I didn't know. And one lady opened up her mailbox, and it was so overflowed when she opened it up, the mail fell out on the floor. And she started crying as she was picking it up. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just mail. And as I'm picking up, she goes, my husband has dementia. I can't even get out of the house to pick up my mail. And the other lady in the room goes, my husband has dementia too. And I'm like, you girls need to be friends, and you need to be friends with me. And now I see them walking around the complex sometimes with their husbands. It's better if people know. It's better if we share that. Because if my loved one had cancer, I would tell you.
Yeah. But there's this embarrassment with the disease of how are people going to act. I mean, I remember with my dad had brain cancer, my mom had dementia, and their friends pulled back because they didn't know what to do or what to say. And back then, I think some of them actually were worried that they could catch it.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Yes, I believe that.
And I think that's gone a little bit, but there's still this thing about what do we do? What do we say? Well, if we don't let them in, they're never going to know.
Exactly.
This is a trial and error game.
Yeah.
It's about having your relationship, and those friends can still reminisce.
Yeah.
With people. Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your book, Betty the Bald Chicken: Lessons in How to Care.
Well, that came to me years ago when I first got in the business, and I was, doing keynotes and training, and I had this dream, and I just kept seeing this bald chicken, and I kept hearing the word Alzheimer's, and I would see the written word going through like a movie, flashing. And when I woke up in the morning, I had this whole story that was kind of downloaded to me, and so I used it as a keynote for years and years and years. I finally got the book published last year, and because I had so many requests for it, because it's just a very simple concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad at myself for not getting it published sooner. It's a children's book. I was written as a children's book, but it really is for all ages and stages of life, is what I realized now, which I didn't in the beginning. I thought it was just for Alzheimer's, but it's really a book about when you don't feel like you fit in are accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And my gosh, we go through that in all kinds of ways throughout our life, from kids being bullied to, making even a business move, chronic illnesses, death and dying, divorce, addictions, all kinds of things. And so it's a story, excuse me, it's that time of year,
Yeah.
It's a story about a chicken that has this great life on this farm, gets along with everybody, is very active in the community, and then she starts losing her feathers.
Oh.
And everybody gets scared of her, and they push her away, and she's uninvited, and she's pulled off committees, and just feeling very lonely, doesn't know what's wrong. People won't talk to her anymore. And she ends up wandering the farm, and she's crying and going, I'm a good chicken. Why is this happening to me? I don't get this. And she trips on a rock, and she falls down this big ravine, and she's screaming, going, no one's even going to know I'm dead. No one cares about me anymore. I can't believe my life's going to end like this. And what she didn't know was there was a whole other community at the bottom of the corral, or the bottom of the ravine, called the Caring Corral.
Oh, wow.
And they broke her fall, and they scooped her up, and they just
and they loved her.
And they loved her unconditionally.
Yeah.
And no one ever came looking for her, and they asked her just to stay with them, and which she did. And then she ends up getting sick a few years later and ends up in the hospital. And the caring corral gathers around and says, one of us has to go back up to the farm and let the other animals know. So the horse gallops up there, and he gets all of the barnyard animals around, and he says, you have one last choice. Are you going to continue to push Betty out of your life and pretend like she never existed and not value what she contributed to you? Or are you going to reach back out and come back into her life and let her know what she's meant to you?
And we know what they did.
Yeah. Well, and what I tell people is I said, we've all been Betty multiple times in our life, and we will be Betty again. So the world is not perfect, and we know how horrible it feels to not fit in.
Yeah.
And if we're honest, we've all been a barnyard animal that walked away from somebody in need because we didn't have the bandwidth, the time, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we have all been part of the caring corral, because I know that because you showed up today.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make any difference who you've been in the past. Just remember, you always have those three choices to choose from at any given moment. And who do you want to be? Do you want to be part of the caring corral?
Right.
Or do you want to be a barnyard animal?
I'm part of the caring corral.
Me too. And the book has maybe 10, 12 questions in the back.
Great.
Because again, it's written as a children's book, but the kids teach us beautiful lessons because they're so honest.
Yeah.
With everything. And we talk about, have you ever felt like Betty? And so those stories come out from all ages. Have you ever seen somebody like Betty, and what have you done?
I love it. So can they get it on Amazon?
Yep, they can get it on Amazon. Yep.
Perfect.
They sure can.
Thank you so much for being with me today, my friend. What's the last thing you want to say to our caregivers? To have hope. We have a new initiative with Alzheimer Speaks and Dementia Map called Be a Giver of Hope, where you can actually download that graphic if you're an individual or you're a company. And it's all about sharing resources, sharing stories, and giving hope. Sharing your story is so powerful, and I know it can be scary, but it can be life-changing for so many other people. And sharing resources like what you have, what I have, and so many others can really help people get educated. Alzheimer Speaks is a resource directory with all kinds of different types of resources. And Dementia Map is a global resource directory, and we encourage people to go on it. All of those are free, and accessible, and we don't track you. You don't have to make an account. Yay.
Yeah, I know. We just.
That's a big deal today.
It is. Well, so you don't have to worry about getting hacked. You can just peruse at your own level, and 24/7. And it's just important for us to pass this information on because it's not getting out there at the level it needs to be. But
we are working on it.
Yep.
We are working on it.
I agree.
Thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a delicious day. And now it's time to hear from our wonderful sponsors, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwayseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back. That Lori LaBey is just so fabulous. I have to chat with her. I haven't yet, so maybe I shouldn't say this on the air, but I'm hoping she'll be part of my next conference. So the next Connecting Caregivers conference is May 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we're starting to book speakers, so I'll keep you all comprised of what's going on. So welcome, Dr. Schumann.
Thanks for having me.
So I see Dr. Schumann every Monday morning. I go to Alexander Spine Chiropractic because I believe that chiropractic is really important. And I believe that you shouldn't only go to the chiropractor when you're hurting. I think if you go on a regular basis, I think that's part of my health routine, something that takes care of me, because I got involved in chiropractic years and years ago. My husband had a rotator cuff problem or something, and they wanted to do some kind of surgery, and he went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor said, "You're just swinging that hammer too much," because he was a contractor.
So overuse, yeah.
And he started going to the chiropractor. No surgery was needed. So that's when I got sold years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole idea of wellness and just trying to optimize the way your body works. And when you do that, you realize that everything functions better, right? And you can avoid certain areas from overworking for a prolonged period of time and causing breakdown, right? And arthritis and all that comes along with it.
Well, it's all natural. All right, so there's no medication. You know how I am with that. I don't really like that. I think our bodies, when you think about it, I just think about how we start. Like to me, it's like a little piece of spit and a little piece of spit gets together, and a person grows. And when you think of everything that the body does, it's unbelievable. So I think with chiropractic, we can keep the body functioning as it should.
Yeah, and I think that comes full circle. And I think about all the things that we do between the therapy, the physical therapy, and the chiropractic, and all the wellness programs that we have, whether we're working on helping somebody lose weight and get healthy. We have some new things coming with neuropathy. It's all about getting your body into an environment where it can heal, right? So your body is capable of healing most things. And of course, there are some things that you can't, and you might need some help, but a lot of things your body can improve on. I mean, I'm amazed. I just finished up with a couple of patients that had some partial tears, right? So like you mentioned rotator cuff, right? So somebody has a partial rotator cuff tear and they don't realize, but they have a window where their body can actually heal that tear. And if you don't learn about what to not do,
right,
you're going to make that tear worse to the point where you have to get it surgically repaired. And now you're going through this long process, and it's very painful and it's costly. I mean, sometimes you miss 2 to 3 months of work from that, so.
But I think we have to be very proactive, because you remember a couple of years ago, I broke my wrist.
I do.
All right. So I broke my wrist. I had a cast on in, I don't know, 6 weeks, whatever the heck it was. And the doctor took the cast off, and I said to him, am I going to get physical therapy now? And he goes, nah, you don't need it. Just like, well, at that time, you guys on YouTube, you can see this. If I put my hand down on the counter, I could only lift it, maybe like an inch, lift my fingers up. Well, by the time I finish my physical therapy, I can lift my fingers up just how it was before. I have no issues with that. But if I didn't do that physical therapy,
there's a chance you might not have gotten full function back. Yeah, and I'm amazed that, and this is becoming more common, how it's not being pushed. Like, hey, go to therapy. I even see it after some of these joint replacements. Some people, they come in and they say, oh, well, I had this joint replaced and my doctor said it was optional. And I stopped them right there. I'm like, optional? I mean, how important is it that you can get your full function back? Isn't that important?
Right.
And so it's definitely not optional if you want to recover and get back to the way you were.
So sometimes we just have to insist on it, because many times it's covered under our insurance and stuff.
Most of the time it is covered. It's one of those things where the education's not there.
Right.
And I'm blown away that you can go and have a surgery and get home without being educated on what comes next.
Yeah.
Like it used to be that, they would sit with you for a little while after your surgery while you're in recovery and go over all the first steps. And people come to me sometimes and they have no idea that they're supposed to be elevating their limb, for example.
Right. No, or no one's telling them how they should be sitting in a chair or what kind of chair they should be sitting in.
So it's just incredible. And, they rely on physical therapists to go through that. But if they don't make it to me in time, they're making mistakes before they even get to me. It's just silly.
It's just harder to solve the situation if you wait too long.
Yeah, it just makes everything more difficult. And we're in the world of prevention if we can, and then when bad things happen, making sure that you give your body every opportunity to heal that you can.
But well, that's like me coming to see you every Monday. Mm-hmm. That's prevention.
It's prevention.
Me going to Curves and working out. That's prevention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go back to the patient I was mentioning before with the rotator cuff issue, and we went through all the things that they were already doing that was making it worse. Fast forward 2 weeks, their pain's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So all the inflammation is gone. They're letting it heal. And so I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks with them to the point where the tears hopefully all healed up and they can resume normal function.
And you know what? Sometimes somebody needs to be just told how to sit or how, we're on computers. So I kept coming in my left shoulder. I'd have tingling in it and everything. And I realized I was sitting in this chair in my room with the computer. And that's when it hurt, is when I was on the computer. So then I started doing it a little less. And then finally, you know what? I went out and I bought a different computer desk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I stopped sitting in that chair and sat in the other chair. And guess what?
Yeah, it was better.
It doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things where, especially when it's part of your job, right? So you're spending 6 to 8 hours a day in one position because you have to do your job. You have to make sure that your body's in the right positions because it does add up. And it might not be right away, but by the time you know it, you might be in your, mid 30s and sometimes early 40s, and your body starts breaking down because you're not taking care of it.
Well, and the most important thing I think is just always get up in between what you're doing. So I have to go walk my dog Charlie. Yeah. That helps me.
Change your position. I mean, it's.
But just get up and move. You see people that are hunched over at desks and on computers. It's crazy.
Yeah, golden rule is about every 30 minutes of sitting. You should try to do 30 seconds of standing and vice versa. And
that's nothing.
Yeah, it's quick. Again, I understand there might be some times when you're working where you get sidetracked. But again, you're trying to do better. Again, even if it's an hour, you try to stand up for 30 seconds or so, and just keep modifying your position so your body can reset.
And you know what? Maybe you just set a little alarm on your phone.
That's a great idea.
At 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., just to get away from your desk or whatever you're doing, whatever, and just get up, walk around a little bit, maybe breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I actually make that recommendation to some of my office working patients, right? So it's like, hey, you're in an office setting, on the hour, every hour, stand up, walk to the water cooler, get a sip of water, walk to the restroom, use the restroom, hopefully nobody's going to yell at you for doing this. But again, the idea is that you're changing your postures, giving your body a chance to reset, and it does work wonders.
And if somebody's going to yell at you for doing that, you don't want to work for that company, because then they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Because thank God a lot of the larger companies, they have gyms, they have wellness programs. They're trying to incorporate that more.
Yeah, they want their employees to be healthier. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we saw a lot of that when everybody had to work from home for a while with COVID, and you realize that your home setup really isn't that great, and now you're spending a majority of your day at your own desk, and it's like, oh my God, I'm hurting so much.
Yeah.
And so a lot of education was going on then. Hey, you have to make these changes. I can't tell you how many patients we had that conversation with, like, hey, like, this is how you want to sit. This is how you want to, use your keyboard and where your monitor should be and all these things. And
an inch can make a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. The angles of your arms and how you use your wrists. I mean, it all adds up. And you're looking for optimal environment for that, especially when you're spending 40 hours a week doing it.
Well, and I think anything we do, besides just trying to take care of ourselves, I think it's really important to listen to our bodies, because you know your body better than anybody else does. And I think with anything, early detection is good. So I'm not going to wait because I have a pain in my back until I can't stand up.
Yeah. And one thing I think is also important to realize is that we accommodate a lot. And what I mean by that is that you'll have an issue and you'll automatically change how you do something. But you don't realize is that the muscles that you're now using are really not meant for that. And so, you can accommodate.
Yeah, that issue is a message.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was a red flag. And it's like, okay, bells and whistles should be going off saying, okay, instead of just allowing your body to accommodate, saying, hey, what can I do differently? And because eventually you won't be able to accommodate and you'll actually cause another injury because you're using your body in a way it's not meant to be used.
Yeah.
And so we see that a lot with posture. We see that a lot with muscle issues. Again, you'll start recruiting another muscle to do that job that's not meant to do that.
That's not supposed to do it.
So, and it just leads to more overuse injuries. And before you know it, you've got 3 or 4 different problems and your body's no longer able to accommodate and things start to break.
It's too much. And it hurts.
Yeah, muscles start to tear or fray, and then you end up with a bigger issue.
All right, so let's talk about, I know you're doing laser lipo there now. I've never had the need for that myself, but let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have 2 laser lipo beds, and basically it's a combination of 2 different wavelengths. And we use it primarily for our weight loss patients. So someone that's really looking for some external help to help them shed some pounds or reduce their circumference in certain areas. So somebody that has maybe tried something and they're struggling, they just need some help, right? So they come in, we sit down, we learn about them and talk about the different ways that we go about that. And so depending on their goal, some people might require a little bit more assistance with eating. Some people that have smaller goals might just be able to use the laser lipo bed. And so,
what is the laser lipo bed?
So basically the red light spectrum.
But it's like a tanning bed,
right? It looks
right?
exactly like a tanning bed, except instead of UV bulbs.
People know that.
Yeah, so instead of UV bulbs, there's red and infrared light. And basically you're laying on this bed for about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
Is
it hot?
It's warm.
Okay.
It's warm. I wouldn't say it's hot, but you get a little bit warm in there. And it's very bright. So we have some protective eyewear that you wear, and you lay there and you absorb all that light for those 10 to 12 minutes, and then you do some vibration therapy after. And so the big picture is that you're helping the fat leave the cell, and your lymphatic system helps to get it out of your body through the use of vibration therapy. And so, after about 6 to 8 weeks, there's a noticeable circumference change in those areas, and we use our software to measure that. So lots of transparency. So again, I like to be as transparent as I can, so I can show you, hey, this is what's changing, right? And so you have your baseline scan on day 1, and then on the last day you do another scan and you show the changes, right? So most people see about an inch of circumference change in those 6 to 8 weeks, and it's through the whole body, not just one area.
It's a lot.
It adds up, yeah. So people are really happy with that, especially when they're struggling on their own.
So how often do they do that?
So they come twice a week for that, especially for weight loss. We have other patients that actually come more for pain control. So the infrared light in the bed actually helps to reduce inflammation. So someone that is going through, maybe have a lot of arthritis in their body. So, the light penetrates about 3 to 4 centimeters, right, which is a little less than 2 inches, right, as for us non-metric folks, right? And so, anything that's superficial, most of our joints it helps to reduce the inflammation in the joints, especially the spine. So, chronic pain, you're seeing a lot less pain You know,
Yeah, because we know inflammation is a killer.
Yeah, it causes a lot of pain. So, you know, the only downside is that that's not a permanent solution, right?
Right.
So, it's a great bonus effect for the people that are doing the light for other reasons, or someone that's coming for pain might only come once a week, and they do it when they're having a really bad flare up.
Right. All right. So somebody comes there and they start doing this and they lose 30 pounds.
Mhm.
Do they continue to come? Have they changed their lifestyle then? Like,
Absolutely.
how does it go
So
from
most
there?
people, it's not that you come to keep losing weight. So once you get to your target weight, you have a choice. And so, you know, we have taught you along the way how to eat the right way. And, you know, at that point, you don't really need light, but most people enjoy it. Right.
Yeah, they
So,
like it.
so they might come once a week instead of twice a week, just because they feel good, because it does help you have more energy, and it helps with skin complexion. Right. So,
Oh, really?
there's lots of bonus effects that come along with that. So, you know, again, energy, you know, your skin, your inflammation. So all these things might be a motivation for them to keep coming, but they're not coming for their weight problem anymore. Right. So you kind of the goal changes. And so, you know, the lifestyle is a little bit different. You're able to keep that weight off by eating right.
Well, you start feeling better about yourself,
you feel
and then
great.
you want to continue that way.
Absolutely. And so, you know, I can't even tell you how many people continue just because they enjoy coming. And it's really nice to see that. And, you know, it's all about us feeling our best and doing our best. And, you know, that also will help you with preventing, you know, pain from coming back, and thinking about how the body works and how inflammation kind of makes things harder, right? You're going to be a little more functional when you're less inflamed.
Yeah, because like when people have arthritis, there's not too much they can do about that, right?
It's a permanent issue, and until you actually wind up getting a joint replacement, and that problem is going to stick around. And you know,
but red light can help with that.
Well, it helps with the inflammation, so it does help reduce the pain just because of that. And like I said, it doesn't fix the problem. So you know, someone that's coming consistently for light therapy is going to have a little bit less pain, and you know, it might buy you some time, and so you're ready to either get that joint replaced or do some therapy to help with the pain more permanently.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause nobody wants to be in pain.
No,
nobody wants to be in pain. So, what can our caregivers do today to take care of themselves?
So I think there's lots of options. I think number one, making sure that if you have an issue, that you are trying to get some help for it. And
because if you're helping your loved one in and out of the chair, in and out of the tub, and you start, this is what happens. You start hurting, but you don't do nothing because you're so focused on taking care of your loved one.
So you have to start prioritizing your own care, because what's going to happen to that loved one if
pain is a message?
Yeah, if you start getting worse and now you can't care for them as much as you'd like to, and you know, you don't always have a support system that's reliable. So you need to make sure that you are that support system. And it all starts with prevention if you can, right? So again, prevention first. So that means going to the chiropractor, getting those adjustments, trying to get on a wellness schedule so that you can prevent injuries from occurring in the first place. But if you're having a problem, that's when you want to kick it up a notch and maybe seek the help of a physical therapist and start addressing the root of the problem. And then you will pretty much be put on a home exercise program that you can continue to do safely to help keep yourself healthy and fit.
Well, and then they get an education on what exercises are best for them. Because when you go to like a regular class, it's going to be exercises for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that's important, to find the right provider.
Yeah. So if you know that this is a certain exercise that I should do to help me with this, that will maybe make the pain go away, but will maybe help to build up my muscles or whatever I need to do so that this doesn't come back.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to find someone that you trust. Again, I hate to say it, but not every office, not every clinic is the same. And sometimes you do need to do some homework and find somebody that is reputable and is doing a good job, because it's not just about, hey, do these few things, right? So do this, and this, you're gonna be fine. No,
let me crack you and leave.
Yeah, no, it's about learning, okay, why are we doing these things? What needs to happen on a consistent basis, and the why? Because if you know the why, you're going to want to do those things. Then you can find a solution. Exactly. So it's not just do these for the rest of your life and you'll be fine. It's more than that. So you need to understand what's happening. So again, finding a physical therapist or a chiropractor that's going to spend the time to explain to you, hey, this is what's going on, and this is why we need to do these things. And that way, again, if you can't answer that question, so if your friend or family says, hey, how'd that go? What, did they tell you what's going on with you? If you can't tell them what's going on with you, then you didn't have a good session, right? They didn't spend the time to explain to you what's wrong and why you need to do the treatment that we're recommending.
All right, one more thing before you go away, because I just think about this, because you guys always say we treat from the womb to the tomb. Let's talk about treating from the womb just a little bit.
Sure. So it doesn't really matter at what point in the life your life you're in, whether you are expecting. So even pregnant mothers can still seek treatment. Right? There's different types of adjustments for different types of people, and so even as we get older, whether you have fractures in places, there are still gentle techniques to help keep your spine functioning properly. So whether we're using the activator for the more sensitive patients or the older patients with a lot of arthritis, But
what about for the baby?
So yeah, even infants can get adjusted. Now, of course, it's a much more gentle adjustment. It's not about movement. It's about making sure that everything's in the right place. And so and that's why we promote family care. So again, we love to see families coming in, parents with their kids, and
they're teaching the kids from young. It's another way to live.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take care of our bodies as we age, so that everything is going to change accordingly, right? So I love that, and we preach that every day in our office. We want to see the kids coming in. We encourage them to come in with their parents and watch them get adjusted. It's not a scary thing.
We want them to be right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly right. So all my kids get adjusted, and I think it's a wonderful thing.
So where can our listeners find you?
So we are on the corner of Park and Seminole Boulevard in Seminole, Florida. We've been there for about 13 years, and you can find us on the web at alexanderspinecenter.com. If you want to learn more about us, we have another website for our weight loss stuff, and that's PinellasLaserLipo.com. So, we'd love to hear from you, and you can always reach out via phone or email. So phone, you can find us at 727-397-3000. That's our main phone line for the chiropractic and physical therapy. I'll
put all the information in the show. Like I said, I'm there every week. Sometimes, depending on how my life is going, I'm there twice a week.
Get that.
Depending on what it is, but it really makes a difference in my life. So don't go away. We're going to hear from our wonderful sponsors in a minute. Thanks.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementia. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. So want to let you know that Arden Courts and Palm Harbor will be hosting a Lunch and Learn on February 18th with Dr. Thomas Pearson. He's absolutely fabulous. They're having it off-site, so there's room for everybody. So if you're interested, you can RSVP to Arden Courts at 771-1600. I'm going to encourage you once again, get into a support group. You know, when people come in the support group, I just see after like 5 minutes, especially when it's a brand new person, just sitting there, they're all tense, all nervous. They're just kind of like looking around. And then we start chatting, and all of a sudden you see them go, oh, okay, this is okay. And I'm not the only one. And this is hard. And here are people that, you know, can help me. The other day, a friend of mine from Kiwanis, we've been friends for 17 years. And she called me and she said, my husband has been diagnosed with dementia and aphasia. He fell in the tub last week, but he didn't get hurt. And she's 80, whatever. She said, I think I need some help. I'm like, yeah, you need some help. So I had some people go over there, and they have some home health starting this week, and they're getting their VA benefits that the home health care company helped them fill out all that paperwork that many times it's too hard for us to fill it out, so we don't fill it out and then we don't do anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to hook you up with somebody if you need help that's going to help you with whatever kind of paperwork. You know, the same company.
Ella Fitzgerald, Tony Bennett, Nora.
Hi, Ella. The same thing happened like the day after, and I also referred them to Southern Comfort Home Care, where a woman called me and she said, I know I need help. She was a guest on the show like 8 years ago. She was a diabetes instructor, and now she goes, and now I need help. And they helped her with her long-term health care policy and how to navigate all that stuff. So like I always say, if you have a problem, you have a question, or just you want some information, I think, contact me. Because if I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody that has the answer. Believe me, I'll find somebody to have the answer. I'm very blessed to be in this Tampa Bay community where we have a lot of healthcare professionals that want to make a difference, and it just stretches out everywhere. A lot of them are franchises, and they have friends in other states, and I've made a lot of new connections. And I'm excited to say the next conference, you're going to hear from some new people that you never heard from before. So glad you're here today. Tune in next week for another great show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.